Today we will tell the story of Dinah, which is found in the book of Genesis, chapters 34 and 35. May the word of God reach our hearts as a source of inspiration for our lives. At the epicenter of Jacob's life among his 11 sons, there was a radiant jewel called Dinah, the only daughter amidst the numerous offspring. Her beauty was as remarkable as the grace that emanated from her. One day, curiosity led her beyond the family boundaries, entering the tranquil setting where young women shared laughter and secrets. As the breeze caressed the fields, Dinah was noticed by Shechem, a prince whose eyes captured the young woman's unique beauty. However, what began as a glimpse of charm quickly turned into a dark shadow. Shechem, blinded by lust, committed a heinous act, leaving Dinah shrouded in a fog of sadness and pain. In the aftermath of the trauma, Shechem surprisingly expressed an affection that bordered on the surreal. He, enamored and disconnected from the gravity of his actions, sought his father's blessing to make Dinah his wife. The news, like an impending storm, reached Jacob's ears while his sons were absent, tending to the flock. Before Jacob's sons could return, Shechem's father was already at the door discussing an impending marriage. Dinah, a pawn in a power play, found herself at the center of a whirlwind that threatened to tear apart her family's bonds. Upon their return, Dinah's brothers were engulfed by a blazing fury. Indignation pulsed through them, considering the outrage as an affront not only to their sister but to all of Israel's family. The flames of anger crackled, signaling an imminent revolt as Jacob's sons prepared to face the storm brewing on the horizon. The father of young Shechem took the floor, seeking a solution to the web of challenges unfolding before them. Consider the possibilities of good that can come from this. My son loves your daughter. Allow them to marry, and thus we will become one family, he proposed, hope shimmering in his eyes. Shechem, intoxicated by a passion that blinded reason, readily agreed. I will do whatever you ask as long as you allow me to marry Dinah, he declared, his words charged with impetuous determination. However, behind the scenes of the plot, Jacob's sons, consumed by a burning desire for revenge, plotted in the shadows. Aware of a reality that could tear family ties apart, they devised a cunning plan. We cannot grant our women to you until your men are circumcised. It would be a disgrace for us. However, we will agree to your terms if all the men in your city submit to circumcision. If you accept, we will give you Dinah and take your daughters as wives. But if you refuse, we will take Dinah and leave. They orchestrated, envisioning a way to balance the forces. In an atmosphere charged with promises and agreements, Shechem and his father returned to the city, where news of the pact spread like wildfire across the steppes. At a meeting with all the men of the city, they laid out the terms of the agreement, painting a picture of future prosperity. It's an advantageous deal for us. They have vast wealth. Over time, everything will be ours. All we need to do is submit to circumcision, they proclaimed, ambition shining in their eyes. Moved by a perspective of wealth and influence, the men of the city readily agreed, submitting to circumcision in a ceremony that would seal their fates. However, 3 days after the procedure, the city murmured in pain, the consequences of the choice still echoing through the narrow alleys. In this scenario of fragility, two of Dinah's brothers, Simeon and Levi, like shadows in the night, entered the city. The element of surprise was in their determined eyes when, with calculated precision, they took the men by surprise. Swords danced in the air like threads of vengeance, cutting lives in a cruel spectacle. Shechem and his father, central figures in this drama, fell before the brothers' fury, and Dinah was rescued from her home. The vengeance, however, did not stop there. The other brothers, like an implacable wave, invaded the city in a reckless raid. Houses were plundered, fields swept, women and children taken as spoils of a personal war. What was once a vibrant city now echoed with the sighs of desolation, as Dinah's brothers, imbued with uncontrollable fury, shaped destiny in their own way. Amidst the settled dust of the ravaged city, Jacob emerged, stupefied, to witness the whirlwind of chaos unleashed by the acts of Simeon and Levi. The betrayal of trust, the fury of vengeance, all culminating in a scenario that threatened to devour not only the city but the entire lineage of Jacob. With a grave expression, Jacob reprimanded the brothers responsible for the whirlwind forming around him. "You have brought the wrath of all this land upon us. When the news spreads, neighboring cities will come against us with overwhelming force, destroying us completely," he admonished, concern marking his voice. The brothers, however, raised their voices with resolute justification. "What choice did we have? They could not treat our sister like a prostitute," they defended, their words laden with a conviction that echoed in the air. As the storm brewed, God's voice echoed in Jacob's ears, a divine guidance that cut through the tumult of the situation. "Hurry, go to Bethel. Build an altar at the place where I appeared to you when you were fleeing from Esau," God commanded. Determined to follow the divine will, Jacob summoned his family and all who accompanied him. The instructions were clear. "Purify your hearts and forsake all idols. We are headed for Bethel, where I will build an altar to God. He has always been with me wherever I have gone," Jacob proclaimed, determination etched in his expression. And so the caravan began its journey toward Bethel, carrying not only physical baggage but also the emotional burden of choices made. The destination, uncertain and fraught with challenges, awaited as the group moved forward, guided by God's promise and the hope of redemption beyond the scars of vengeance. Urged by divine instruction, the people gathered all their false deities and earrings, entrusting Jacob with these symbols of misplaced worship. Cautiously, Jacob hid these treasures beneath a towering oak, as if harboring secrets amidst the shadows of the city of Shechem. The caravan then headed towards Bethel, guided by a mix of expectations and fears. Beneath the vast sky, Jacob erected an altar, a monument of devotion amidst the sacred landscape. God, in his majesty, sent a terror that enveloped the cities around, an invisible barrier that discouraged any threat against Jacob and his sons. It was there in the sanctuary built by Jacob's hands that God manifested, pouring upon him the promises made to Abraham, like rays of light piercing through the clouds. However, the journey was far from its conclusion. Departing from Bethel, the caravan traced a path southward, but the journey would not be without sacrifices. Along the road, joy and sorrow danced in a painful contrast. Rachel, Jacob's beloved wife, gave birth to her second son, Benjamin, but with the final sigh of her last breath, she left this life. Mourning enveloped the caravan as Jacob, with a heavy heart, buried Rachel near Bethlehem, a final tribute to the woman who shared his tumultuous journey. Thus, the pages of Jacob's life were filled with chapters of faith, sacrifice, and divine promise, outlining an epic story that would echo through the ages. This is the fifth and final part of a series where we tell the biblical story of Jacob and his family. Please continue with us so you don't miss the next chapters of this story, which is so important to all of us. And if you missed the previous episodes, we have a complete playlist with all the videos in chronological order. Our next series of videos will tell the story of Joseph. You can't miss it. If you're not yet subscribed to our channel, click the subscription button and join our community. Don't forget to comment, like, and click the notification bell. Your presence and participation here are very important to us. And if you missed the previous episodes, we have a complete playlist with all the videos in chronological order. Today I want to leave you with a verse from the book of Genesis, chapter 35, verse 3. "Come, let's go up to Bethel, where I will make an altar to the God who listened to me on the day of my distress and who has been with me wherever I have gone." May God's presence be a constant in your life, bringing blessings, joy, and love. God bless you.